Hello, everybody, and a warm welcome to a brand new league. And tonight we are live for Brothers at Lappage here for round 4, season 1, as we are about to get started. As we are in and getting ready very soon for racing action to begin with Brothers at Lappage. It is season 4, round 1 here at the Australian Grand Prix. It is going to be 20 laps of racing. Just before that, it will be 18 minutes of qualifying here at Melbourne. So this is going to be some fun racing to go as we are ready to go racing. Just in a couple of moments. Before we get started, let me introduce myself to you guys. My name is Zabihullah. I'm on, and of course all of those who know me will know, but for all of you guys who just new and joining in now, I'm excited to have you guys, so let's just wait on, and as soon as we're on, we will be starting. We're just waiting for a driver. As soon as they are in, we'll be ready to go racing, and just one more driver is waiting on. So just before we get started, a couple of things to look at. You know, we're looking at just a bit of a background on what is going on in this one. It is all of these 8 drivers we see waiting for one more raid tonight. Also, just before we get started, I'm running for the first time actually on my PC a 1080p stream. So if there's anything wrong, lag a bit, do let me know as soon as possible. We can downgrade the quality, but hopefully we will not need to do that. So as it is, let's have a look at the drivers. And first of all, it is going to be Diggs, our champion of all 3 seasons. He's won all 3 championships so far. Most wins and most fastest laps last season. Usually controlling the race from the front. So will they be able to do that tonight? Or the challenge of Rambo will be enough? Because Rambo has given Diggs a strong rivalry, but hasn't managed to clinch up a title, only finishing runner-up 3 times. Very consistent in the points is Rambo, so it's going to be interesting to see. Won in Melbourne last season, so definitely a driver you need to keep your eye on, because they can easily have a chance to win, to give us some racing action, as they've also switched up to Ferrari. Let's hope their luck isn't as it's real life Ferrari, but somewhat they've changed the team. It would just switch around and be a better new good luck for them. Spotchings for racing for Williams, they're going to be last season's late surge, included wins from them, fastest laps, and a dramatic push to 3rd overall, beating Pepper by 2 points. Can be inconsistent, maybe inconsistent, and spun out 17th last season in Australia, hoping for a more confident race start. As we're about to get started, by the looks of it, we didn't get our 9th driver, so it is all gonna be in, and we're getting some requests in the chat, so we're gonna get everything slowly in. So looking at now drivers, we're ready to come getting out on track. There is a lot. There is many drivers, and I think we'll definitely look at everything slowly. As Grigsby, strong improvement through last season's race day. Strength often finishes higher than he qualifies, making positions through consistency. Some unlucky strategy calls last season, so I miss out on big points. Often in the top 5, one to look out for, so this could be interesting, all to play for. Can anyone stop Diggs, at the 3-time champ, to get him somewhat action? Will Rainbow finally win a title. Will his move to Ferrari pay off? As we've got all to talk about for, so we've got AI as well, which is interesting to see. But without wasting any further time, let's get out on track and see some action of racing out here, as we have cars already out on track, ladies and gentlemen. As I'm just going to try and adjust the logos and stuff so they're in a correct position just yet. So just getting these. Bear in mind, I'm returning on PC streaming after a couple of days, I'd say, because not days, but eventually after a couple of weeks, because I had actually switched to PS5 and would stream from there for F1 at 25, so switching up to F1 24. It's a bit of coming back to it, but let's have a look at this then. We have drivers out on track already. Rambo is out in the Ferrari, out on the track, navigating through the circuit here around Albert Park, navigating through, and it's a different surge for me to look at these cars from F1, going from F1 25 to F1 at 24. And then there's Thunder, whose team was not certified, I believe, coming into this one. So that is them now going to kick Sauber. Gritters in P5. I'd assume that is... Okay, so their team was not decided yet. So then also their team was not decided as well. So then they're racing for Red Bull. Diggs, our champion, our three-time champ, is currently out on the track as well. What about other drivers? Spotchings is going to be your very first driver to start their flying lap and be out on track. Actually, Rambo has started, and Thunder as well. So a couple of more drivers. They're not going to be the first one. Would be Pepper to, sorry, not Pepper, but Pepper is just starting their laps. Potchings won't be the very first driver, but he might be the very first driver to invalidate their lap, as that lap will not be taking them anywhere. They've invalidated this one, and it won't be a very good lap here by the looks of it. So, I mean, it's invalidated, so it doesn't matter if it's good or not. Meanwhile, looking at these drivers, Thunder and Rainbow looking pretty close to one another. This could be a bit of it. Okay, it's not Rainbow and Thunder. It is Leclerc and Thunder. Thunder is pretty closer to that finish line. There's a couple of AI drivers, so bear in mind we might see a couple of lap times on the board, which will eventually not count because of we're looking at drivers real drivers, basically, not these AI ones. And it is going to be our very first driver who will be over the line with our benchmark time. That should be Thunder for everybody to beat. And that's going to be Thunder going up over into P1, 119.8. But how competitive will that time be? We're about to get our own answer. And the answer is it was not competitive enough, as Remba goes up to P1. Takes that first spot for the moment, but for how much longer they can hold on to that spot, because not as long as Gritters have got a spin, and they're going to spin round to find themselves around. They're going to have facing the wrong way, so they'll need to go again. Well, Peppers is into the pits as well. What about other drivers? There's a McLaren going over the line. That is going to be of Goimes, and he's going to go over into P11. Slower than a couple of AI drivers as well. Meanwhile, Thorny is in P2. They put it up to second place. 3 drivers who are with a competitive time, and our champion doesn't wait for anybody. Puts it up to P1 within no time. Gets his pole position. I mean, he hasn't gotten it yet, but he's got to put a lap in, which is very consistent, so it could or could not be going anywhere for him by the looks of it. And I'm actually looking at this here, but alright, so that's what we want. I was like, there's no 1080p, but it is, so hopefully it is going to be a smooth experience for all of you watching as well. So just sorting these things down. Meanwhile, Diggs in P1. They've taken their pole position. Meanwhile, drivers are going to be now making their laps to the end of it now. We're going to be finding drivers. I mean, there's AI drivers as well, which I thought actually weren't going to be there, but which is interesting to see. I mean, at least has somewhat something for eventually us to have a look at and not really be lost out when there is not much going on. Meanwhile, Spottings have got a lap in as well. They've put it into P3, 118.7 is their third best time. 5 drivers from our Oh, that's going to be not sure what happened there for them on their own. They just stopped in the middle of the track, did Thor there. So that is an interesting thing. And, oh, he's disqualified. Thor is disqualified for reversing out on the wrong way. Not sure what he was trying to do there, trying to reverse. Maybe he missed the pit stop and then he was going to go to the pits, but you were never going to be able to make it, obviously, with the going reverse on a circuit, on a Formula 1 circuit, which a thing that you're not allowed to do. So two-man who are going to be out in the middle part of the circuit. That's going to be the McLaren of Gomez, currently at the end of that middle sector. Will that be any faster? I don't think so. That'll be simply a prep lap, and obviously a few 1.3 seconds down the previous one. Everybody is in to the pits now, and a couple of them on fast laps, but obviously those are AI drivers. All right, so interesting to get on. Who do you guys think is going to be up at the top? Is Diggs going to be at the top, or Rainbow will be able to give him the challenge? Because the Rainbow going into this is only about 3.5 tenths down on Diggs, and definitely he can get those 3 tenths without a doubt, but on the other hand, Diggs can improve as well, so it certainly will equal it out by the looks of it. So that's pretty much is it, and eventually I'm gonna read it out for you guys. So actually had a couple of facts to check on, and so 10.5 minutes pretty much now remain in qualifying. Our next driver who we'd be looking at will be on a flying lap at the moment will be only Gomez, and I would have expected them to rather not come into the pits, but probably do a lap in now, because in the previous one they were on a prep lap, but they've done over 3 laps on the soft compound tyres, so their best bet would be that they want to continue. They want to be doing what they're doing right now, probably head into the pits when it's needed. But meanwhile, is going to be your driver who's going to have their lap in now, just making their way around the final corner in that Mercedes over the finish line. How good that one will be at 119.9, still good enough for P5. But that is slowest of them, of our all drivers. So that is eventually all they're going to get for the moment. Obviously, everybody's coming in from behind to try and get that job done. Meanwhile, Rainbow is on their lap, and they've also just begun a fast flying lap here as well at the end of that first sector. How much will they be improving? They are not. And I'd only assume that, yep, they haven't got overtake on, so definitely they're just simply treating this one as a cool down lap, and then when prep lap, and when they have the opportunity to move through, they will be moving through, no doubt. So I mean, look, talking about a couple of drivers here, considering Pepper, they've always in the mix, finishing third overall twice with consistent top results. Strong qualifying from last year, so interesting to see there. They haven't found a lap yet, and I'm only assuming that they'll be finding that lap later on, so they just haven't been able to get what they're trying to get out of their car just yet, so expect them to be strong. Australia was one of their cleaner races, banking solid points, working hard to improve from this season. I'm sure they'll be doing all of that, so it'll be all the hard work, it'll be all the practice that these guys have put in, we'll be able to see. And are we going to see Grizzers go over the line and put a lap in? No, that's going to be an invalidated lap, so that means it will not be a good enough lap at all, and it takes place tyre accident. It'll be interesting. I mean, Dick's currently out on a brand new set of soft compound tyres, along with Rainbow, who's just took a lap to warm up their tyres, and by the looks of it, they might have warmed their tyres enough, but has one man warmed their tyres up, and that'll be Spotchings, who's currently out out. Sorry, Spotchings currently out on the track, just making their way around the final corner. They've got the opportunity to make the move and have a lap in. Obviously, they've got a lap in already, but they will need to improve. Meanwhile, before we could see Spotchings, it was going to be our pole sitter who's going to move even further and improve even better than their time and put the target away from everyone else and move it further for everyone to catch. Can they catch it up, though? This is all too interesting for us to see. And what about Rainbow now? They're going to come into the pits. They did improve in that middle sector, but the final sector might have been the case, and the final sector might have been the one that they weren't able to improve. What about Gritters, though? They're going to go over the line, find a couple of many seconds, actually, and that is going to be over up into P4, 118.8. For them route there. So I'm looking at through drivers, and I wonder if you have somebody missing here, because Jenko, I'm going to try and navigate through. There's so many drivers, so apologies if we're not able to find anybody, but I'm definitely sure we have somebody. Who's Jenko, if you guys know, in the game, basically? Unless they're not here, we can take on with them in the game, basically, because one of our driver is missing their race, so it could only be right that they're missing in, and he's a driver not. But we're going to move over to Thorny. I mean, improving every race. Some good results last season. Finished 4th in Australia last season as well. At the moment, looking at them, they are in 5th place by the looks of it. All right, then. So that is the case. All right, thank you for letting me know. That I was wondering, because I was like, definitely some they got to be missing, so we got the idea. Shame we can't have you. I mean, hope you could join in maybe later on to be good. And I'm not sure what happened here to the stream. All right, so it should be okay. Rather, on my own screen, it looked like it didn't stop, but basically it paused on my computer screen. So then, this was pretty much the information we had about these drivers. In fact, I'm sure there's got to be more to it, but I'm not sure how. I might take a bit to excess. Meanwhile, one thing we might take into excess is going to be Gomez, who might need to extend their time and make it better. But by the looks of it, just yet, they won't be able to do so. But that's going to be interesting for them to improve, and I mean, they need to improve by the looks of it. Spotchings Rainbow is out on track right now, along with Gomez, who's in McLaren, out on that as well. So yeah, maybe you are too quick. That's why they won't really let you play. So I mean, now looking at drivers, you know. Oh, that's going to be a driver going into the wall, and that will be Gomez. He's heading towards the wall on his own. We were just riding on board with them, watching their car go through around the circuit, and they've found the grass and towards the wall. Lucky enough to not really be, you know, touching the wall and not really be out of this one, because that could have been pretty risky, and that could have not maybe found it, and they'll be blob up, I believe so. Gomez could be their game name. Looking about them, known for red flags and chaos, and that just happened in front of a screen. I mean, we need no confirmation. It has to be them then in front of a screen in the game. Anything can happen but they are involved. Rarely practices, but still managed to show pace at times last season. So that's an interesting information to have. Meanwhile, our pole sitter has retired out of the session, being over 5 to 6 tenths quicker than the next car. So I'm sure that would be the only explanation that decided to retire out of this one, and to know that, you know, they're going to be not needing this and going to continue on just here. So that'll pretty much be the case with them, unless somebody else can get and improve. And I think that'll be their best chance to improve here. And I think I was about to ask, will Gomez cause some chaos. I mean, they've just done so out here and can convert pace into results, which will be an interesting fact as well. But I think at the moment they need pace, rather they needed pace, I should say, because they've disqualified out of this one. Not sure what they were doing, trying to come reverse on a track here. So now everybody is leaving for their final flying laps, and pretty much these drivers with 2.5 minutes remaining. It is going to be Rainbow over the finish line. Not a quick lap from them. Would have to be a prep lap for their just their previous strat as well. That's what I can assume, and indeed that will be the case as they're now using their overtake button. What about Gritters? They're on their flying flyer, and they are improving indeed. They need a minimum of 4.5 to 5 tenths to improve to see themselves move into next position, because otherwise it could or could not be chance for them to move. I mean, they can improve, they can have the opportunity to rather get better, but will they get better? That is going to be a question that we will need answers to. And hopefully stream and everything is okay quality wise, and well, do let me know, guys, your feedback and stuff to it all. So now, and I think all right, what we're going to be okay, have we got some issues here in terms of speed and stuff? By the looks of it, it is going to continue. If there is, you guys can always let me know in the comments. Meanwhile, Rainbow has now retired out of session as well, with only 2 minutes remaining. They've pretty much got their time done and dusted and called it a day here in qualifying. What about Spotchings? They're going to come into the pits as well, as Gritters have found a lap in, and that lap was going to be better than Rainbow's, and they've put it into P2. Decent enough to get themselves a second place finish, and that is a good lap when Rainbow has retired and they've capitalized on it. Thorny in P5. They didn't pretty much game in for the second lap. Pepper as well. They've retired as well. And pretty much everybody has now retired out of these drivers. The top 6, Thor and Gomez, are also already out of the session. With just 40 seconds remaining, Gritters still out on track, but they'll be heading towards the pits as well. They'll be heading pit lane in no time, by the looks of it. I, in my commentary career, seen once a red flag, that too on F1 25, I believe that was. But now we gotta wait out here, and I'm not sure what exactly is going on because it just says, please wait, that's all. We've got a black screen, and now somebody... And that was a red flag indeed. Then we're getting another start here, as we're going to be starting from lap 1 indeed for one more time. It'll be 5 lights out, and we go racing here at the Australian Grand Prix for the second time. It's a very good start for Dix this time, heading towards turn 1. Rainbow will be round the outside as well, and he dumps Gritters into P2. Our Bolter got a brilliant start. Meanwhile, Rainbow Gritters will be in a bit of pressure from the Aston Martin of Thorny there, around the outside. Or the inside will Thorny go. Pepper will go on the inside line, a long lunge on the inside, and he nearly gets a job done. More of chopping at the driver's front wings rather than getting the position there, but just enough for them to not have an issue with anybody, colliding with anybody, and they will just about get the job done here as we're on at the start, as the track is heating up already. Pepper's in P6. Our drivers at the back are at the back. Thor is going to try and get past these AI drivers as soon as he can, nice and easy. Meanwhile, Gomez in P17 as well, but I'm switching up back to the top. It is going to be Rembo and Diggs in the P2. They'll be all at it with Gritters in P3 on their own, so... it'll be interesting to see. Meanwhile, Spottings will get past Thorny round the outside, and the move will be done. Thorny, the only driver out of 8 we have. Our actual drivers and the rest of the AI drivers, the only single one who starts on a set of soft compound tires. But will those soft tires give him enough speed to defend? If not to gain a position, will he be able to at least defend his position around here against Peppers? And yes, they will be. At least keep their position for the moment. Meanwhile, Peppers goes a little bit wide, and they might be in a bit of trouble from Sonoda behind. Or maybe not, as Gap is just enough for them to stay ahead, but the top two are going to be playing each other. The top drivers are going to be on now. Comfort for Diggs might have not been enough here, because the opportunity for Rainbow to take their place will be on soon, and anytime now we can get on with Thogs playing this and taking up the place and position on Rainbow there around the outside. The opportunity will be his way. They're going to be on the way to take the move. They'll be side by side. Who takes the position? It'll be around the outside. Rainbow takes it, but does he though? As Diggs is going to stick around and try and take the place there as well. Just stick around to stay there, but they will not be doing that eventually as they back out of it and decide to just about stay out of it for a moment. But how long will that be the case as Diggs gets past? Meanwhile, Pepper is going to be on there as well. Meanwhile, Thorny will be there as Gridges is on his way. I mean, did he pit there? All right, then eventually, we had that red flag, so they would have got their front wing back up from the earlier mistake they made in the race. So we were about to say some facts about drivers, and just when we lost position, and we might be able to see a position gained, and that'll be from Thorny, who went from a long way back on the inside line of Peppers, and will get past Pepper there, and he'll get the move done into P5. Thorny on those soft tires. He's trying to make that move. He's trying to make those positions very early on to give himself the opportunity. So the fights are going to be on between these drivers by the looks of it. And the facts we were going to be talking about soon, actually, to get on earlier before we actually had the incident for us to look at. Meanwhile, once more, there might be a chance for Pepper to get past. He will get past him, though, around the outside. The middle sector is the easiest part to overtake around Australia, and one of the most part where we do see a lot of overtakes between drivers there. Meanwhile, Thunder and Gomez are both at the very bottom of the race. Meanwhile, Thor is going to be in P19. He might have the opportunity to get past. Meanwhile, our top two are going to be on their own, as Gomez is in P20 spinning, spinning around, doing pretty much all they were told, I guess. Thorny is going to be now making the move. Meanwhile, Gritters might have made a move here on Spottings by the looks of it, or as Thorny now over a second behind Pepper, so he's lost out a couple of tenths. Meanwhile, a penalty to Spottings. I wonder what kind of a penalty that is. That'll be track limits for 3 seconds, and there's a whole safety car, and I wonder it is. Yes, it indeed is Gomez who's lost out the car, and they have caused a safety car out on lap 24 out of 20, and that is interesting. Actually, last couple of races myself over the weeks I've been doing have racing laps by the looks of it, so we're going to be hoping at least it is enough racing laps here. Meanwhile, yep, our mic audio is there, so that is great news. So now this full safety car is now out on track with Rainbow leading ahead of Diggs. So it's Gritters in P3, Spottings in P4, followed by Pepper in P5. Thorny was going to be in P6, and I think it'll be time for them to get off the soft compound tire by the looks of it, and it'll only be a very good benefit for Thor, who's going to be bunched up to closer to the field. I mean, all our race leader, our top two, are into the pits, and they'll be in to get themselves a new set of tires, and those hot tires might just be enough to see them go to the end of this race. Bear in mind, F1 25 is very different in terms of tire model, and strategies on that game have been very difficult for drivers to navigate. So I'm only jumping in after a long time on F1 24, so if I do get some of those strategy calls wrong, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not the driver, but still, it could go here and there. So now on as a safety car is out on the circuit, lap 5 out of 20. Rainbow in P1. And we might actually have the best opportunity here. So, as we were talking about Thorny's racing persona, Janko, who couldn't attend us, but got a good sleep last night, but spent has a medical condition and can't currently feel his feet, right foot, and by the looks of it, he can't currently feel F1 24 as well because he couldn't join. And Rainbow spent last night at accident emergency in the hospital. Not sure how he will do, but by the looks of it, that might have been his extra motivation. He's doing brilliantly well as Gomez was up all night playing Magic the Gathering, and he might have wanted to play F1 because by the looks of it, says he's already out of this one, so he might have wanted to do a little bit better than he at the moment has. And I'm hoping there's no mic droppage because at the moment I'm not sure what's going on with my headset. I might need to do a bit of troubleshooting, but it's a bit of a sound which I get sometimes. I got disconnected twice as well, so not exactly sure what is going on, but I will need to do troubleshooting. But by the looks of it, every single driver is now on a set of hard tires. Not to forget, Splotchings and Pepper are of both of them. One of them is on 3 hours of sleep. The other is on 5 hours of sleep. So they want to make sure that they do not have a boring race. And Pepper was doing that already because boring race, maybe a bit of sleep comes in the way, so they're not trying to take that in as Rainbow is in now. So as it stands, Rainbow leads from Diggs in P2 with Gridgers in P3. Sposhings in P4, followed by Pepper in P5. Only for Thorny to be in P6. So, and our 7th driver is down in P19, and that is going to be Thor, who's in P19. Gomez is in P20. Obviously, he's DNF, so he's not going to be, counting him. Obviously, that's the obvious thing. With obviously a couple of AI drivers in, but obviously I'm not counting those guys. So safety cars should be heading in at the end of this lap, and we would be getting a lap 7 restart, and hopefully a restart that sees us go to the end of the Grand Prix and watch some great racing action. And not to forget, we see some clouds here around the track. Are we going to be seeing this rain, or will we see the race to be as dry as it is? So the safety car is in, and only a few moments before we are we go green flags racing, and we'll pick it up in a moment as we are back to green flag racing. And now the safety car is in. Rainbow in the lead ahead of Diggs. He's already went for it at the start and did not wait for anything at all. As Diggs is going to be in P2, Gridger's in P3. He's kind of on his own as well, along with Pepper and Thorny, who are in their own race. But is Spotting's going to be leaving Gridger's out of it though, because Diggs is over just about a second behind Rainbow now. So Rainbow's gained a bit of time on him. Meanwhile, Spottings and Pepper are going to be along with Thorny within a second of each other, and that mistake might cost Gridgers there in the Red Bull. He's made a bit of a mistake again around that same part of the circuit, and that would only allow others to get closer to him now. Within 3/10 as my screen just disappears in front of me. Hopefully that's going to be back. I'm not watching anything. Okay, in fact, we are now getting back at these things as Gridgers is still in that third place, but he will not be anymore as he gets past Spottings, and he does get past Pepper as well, or does he though? As he just does enough to defend against Pepper. And you guys do see that safety car in that overlay, and it's a bug on F124. It's been there for ages, probably since the game came out. Even when the safety car comes in, it does not disappear at all. It stays there. He said, I mean, it's less of a bug to really complain about when one of our drivers can't even join because of certain issues. So now our race leaders are going to be on their own, as Rainbow will be in a bit of a pressure from Diggs, but so will be Spudgings from Gridgers, along with Pepper. Pepper as well, with Thorny in P6 in that Aston Martin. Who will be taking that challenge? Diggs might have the opportunity to put all that pressure on Rainbow right now, but will they be able to do that? Which we'll be interested to see now. I think lap 8 out of 20, the top two have pulled away from the rest of the grid. Meanwhile, one man who has pulled away from Gridgers, along with Spottings, is going to be Pepper. He couldn't get the job done earlier. He's got the job done now, and I wonder if it's the AI racing for Gridgers. I won't think that though, as it's going to be Diggs now making his move around the outside to get past Rainbow and takes back the lead. And Diggs is your new race leader, ladies and gentlemen, on lap 8 here at the Australian Grand Prix. And the last thing Gridgers would have wanted would have been that 3-second time penalty, and they've eventually got it right now. So we're only going to hope that it is. They're going to be able to do enough to keep the position they would have been looking for. Meanwhile, Rainbow still within half a second and within that DRS range of Diggs, so they might get the opportunity to get past Diggs. They're heading towards turn 1. Are they going to give it up? Any challenge? Nope, they just have do enough to back out, but have they not outdone themselves? Lock up and go a little bit wide. That's going to be losing them time to Diggs out there, and these are the mistakes they want to capitalize on. Meanwhile, Pepper is going to be in a bit of pressure from Spottings. Rather, they've got him past Spottings there. We slightly missed that because we were focused on our race lead out there, as it's so far brilliantly done between these drivers, as Pepper is in P3 looking for that inconsistent improving along with Splotchings, who is doing all he can as well by the looks of it, as to stay in that 4th place. But remember, Spotchings and Gridgers have got a time penalty of 3 seconds. Is he going to go around the outside? No, he will not. And that thing basically will mean that he's got to finish 3 seconds around, as he's going to go around the outside to get the move done. They nearly make contact. They just about narrowly avoid each other, and Spotchings will be getting past him. So, yeah, what I was saying that, you know, with the top 2 out of the range of these guys, it's the 3rd place these guys are going to follow. And the best things for Pepper is going to be to just simply stay within 3 seconds of these guys, because Grizzlies has got a 3-second time penalty as well, along with Spotchings. So as long as he stays within 3 seconds of these guys, there is no problem for him to be stopped. There is no issues for him to have any problem of not being able to capitalize on these. Meanwhile, by the looks of it, is Pepper going to be catching up to Spotchings now, as that is going to be a bit of not a problem, but rather a issue it could have been. Well, Thor is down in P19, so they haven't been able to catch up to these guys or overtake any of them, despite the safety car being out. And Rainbow might have his opportunity to take the Lakes lead back again, exactly where it was taken up from him, around the outside now, heading towards 10, 11 and 12. He's going to just get the move done around the outside, and he'll be going into P1, and he'll get you that race lead. And Pepper now will get past Spotchings as well, and he'll be back into 3rd place, out on track as well, as we're halfway mark in this race now. So it is all going to be who's going to be taking this through, who'll be doing their ult. There's a bit of an AI battle, but I think our battle on track is brilliant enough to not really look at that. So it's going to be on between these guys. Meanwhile, the leaders have pulled away over 7 seconds to 3rd place. But Spotchings is going to be already on his way to get past Peppers before they get to the braking zone of turn 1. They're nearly going to go into the back of Spotchings there, but just about avoided to get into P3. And the job is done. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will be the move from Pepper. But it is Australia, and especially this new layout provides a lot of overtaking. So that's pretty much one of the big reasons that we see a lot of racing these guys, and we see them do a brilliant job out here as well, as we need this to get out of the way. And a lot of overtakes happen around here, you know, especially this part of the sector. The middle sector is a part where a lot of overtakes happen, and so many times it's just back and forth between these drivers. So it's about, Rainbow trying to provide the challenge to Diggs, and especially after 3 runner-ups in the previous 3 seasons. A little bit wide goes Diggs, and that might be a bit of a pressure from him then. And look at that battery usage from Rainbow. It is a lot, and it is a lot, to say the least. They're going to be doing that. And now we're moving to the next part of the Grand Prix. Lap 11, lap 12 out of 20. And these remaining 9 laps are going to be very exciting to watch out here, because we've got a battle for the race lead. We've got a battle for 3rd place, as Spotchings has taken that position from Pepper, and Pepper's going to try and attack him back again. He's going to be very careful though, because the last thing right now he wants is a penalty. Meanwhile, Gridges, by the looks of it, might have made a mistake on his own, because meanwhile, he was within 3 seconds of these guys, or in that fight earlier on, within the second of these guys earlier on. He is no more to be found. So P5 might be the best he can get, because Thorny is down in P6, and he's almost about to be in a bit of a challenge by Sonoda. Meanwhile, one man who's going to be in a challenge by Diggs is going to be Rainbow. So exactly, as we were watching out on what exactly will be happening between these guys, and what Diggs will be doing to keep up his mark. And it's we were talking about Rainbow catching up to him and giving him a tough time, but we're not talking about Diggs staying where he was, being where he has been, and eventually do the job that he's done the previous 3 seasons. That's going to be all to be here. Meanwhile, Diggs is going to be within 3 cents of Rainbow now. I think they're on lap 13, be it lap 17 or lap 18, or past lap 15. The final 5 laps are going to be where we're going to see some battle fall out. But especially I feel like the leaders, if it is Diggs to take the lead, he's not going to do it now, because he knows even if he does it now, the thing is that he's going to lose it within a couple of laps again, as soon as the next DRS zone is available. So the best opportunity is for for him to stay behind, but he might not stay behind for too long. He's definitely going to be taking all the opportunity he has, but a brilliant defensive line there from Rainbow, who's done a brilliant job to defend that. But will Spotchings do enough to defend his position? Yes, he will. Out there, he might have overtaken Pepper, I'm not sure, but eventually we're seeing these guys back and forth with Grizzers now 4.6 seconds down on these guys in P5, along with Tony, who's in Aston Martin in P6. Thor is on his own. He's made a couple of places here, so he's definitely going very careful by the looks of it, as he is only in P17. Meanwhile, Diggs is going to be on in P2 still, as I said. As soon as we pass lap 15, lap 16, into lap 17, the final 3 to 4 laps are going to be very crucial, because around a track like this, you could be in the lead, you could be on the verge of losing this lead into the final corner, you could be losing that in that middle sector, and of course around that final lap, that taking it back is a very, very big risk. And if you're not able to do that, you might have the opportunity. Meanwhile, one man is going to have the opportunity to get the overtake done. Or really, though, no, he will not. Nearly. Rainbow brilliantly did well to stay around the outside there and on that racing line. Meanwhile, one man will be getting that move around the outside, and that'll be Pepper, who will be getting that move into P3 once again. And he goes a little bit wide, along with Spotchings, who follows him right again. And now, but that might have just about done enough for Spotchings to stay close and have another opportunity. He will certainly not do that, but just does enough to stay where he should have been, and gets the job done. Well done out there. Meanwhile, Spotchings will be on his way. Oh, he's made a mistake. His Pepper has definitely made a mistake. He's just lucky enough that Spotchings has a 3-second time penalty, because otherwise he's pulling out of over 1 second. He slightly made a mistake, and that was almost going to be turning up against him. They're not sure what happened. These guys might have been fighting each other side by side. Will racing between these two drivers. Could have been the possible case of all of these things, because it'll be very risky if such a mistake happens, and an opportunity for him to take back again will be on. Meanwhile, one man who might finally have the opportunity to take the race lead, he'll be on it again. He'll have the opportunity, he'll try to get it again, but once more he's going to back out of it and will not attempt to go for it at all. So on now, I think lap 15 out of 20, Diggs and Rainbow are going to be fighting each other off, but that fight will be on. The fight between pretty much Spotchings and Pepper is currently at least off, but Pepper is gaining back, 8 back within a second, and 8/10 now separate these drivers, but these drivers are only separated by a 10th, nearly once more. Diggs had the opportunity, but he will not be able to overtake, and he has not been able to overtake just right now. So it is all about who's going to be taking that. Who do you think is going to be taking the win? Who do you think is going to be taking the lead going into the next Grand Prix? Do you think will Diggs be able to take that position? Will you be able to take that lead going into the final few laps and take that the victory that he is going to be looking for, or is it going to be Rainbow who's going to continue on and he'll finally start a season with a win? I mean, not to forget that he did a brilliant job, last 3 seasons. Eventually, he's done an excellent job to take it through and keep it going, and to show what he can do. And eventually, he won last season in Melbourne as well. So, not to forget, he has been the better driver within Melbourne and on the streets of Melbourne, to say the least. And now heading towards lap 17, the final 4. Going to be very exciting out there, as 2 tenths between these drivers. Diggs is still going to stay behind to not go for a rough move. Pepper now within 5 tenths of Spotchings as well. Spotchings has got another time penalty, so that would only ruin his chances along with Critters. He's got a 6-second time penalty as well, along with 10-second, but that is to Logan Sargent. The man is not even in Formula 1 anymore. So now this is all to play for. The top 4 are in a battle of their own. P1 to P2, P3 and P4. It is Rainbow versus Diggs. It is Spotchings versus Pepper. The 2 guys are going to be at the top to fight it all, to say what they, to do what they can. Meanwhile, at the top drivers, there's going to be a switch up, and still there is no switch between these drivers. And definitely, I think short of brilliantly defending has been done by Rainbow, but is it going to be enough? Yes, it will be. And let me tell you what, with all of experience I've got commentating and watching races, definitely Diggs is holding off. This time around, he definitely had the opportunity, but he's being patient. He's being the patient driver here. Meanwhile, Pepper is not going to care about patience. He's going to go around the outside, and he'll get the move done. And Diggs will get another opportunity. He'll get the opportunity once more, heading to stand 1. And he backs out. As I said, he's going to wait till the very last moment. He's going to wait till the very last lap. Because by the looks of it, he has the opportunity, and he's got the battery as well, almost 100%. So he's got ERS that he's going to use all he can. I think final 2 laps, probably next lap. Either he's going to get it this lap, or it's going to be, last lap, final lap. Or we're just watching a defense masterclass. We're just watching a defensive performance from Rainbow here. It is all, both these drivers are on same lap of hard tires, 13 laps on these hard tires from both of them, so it's all to play for. Who's going to be the better one? Who's going to be the driver that is going to be holding the pressure better? Is it going to be Diggs? Is it going to be Rainbow? Still, the race is yet to be decided. Still, the lead is yet to be decided. Meanwhile, the 2 drivers in racing for P3 is going to be Spotchings and Pepper. Anyways, Spotchings has a penalty, so a lot depends on, as long as Pepper is within 6 seconds of him, he's going to be getting that podium. But definitely, I think getting whatever you get, getting it on track, it just feels better. And now Spotchings has made a mistake, and that might make it even worse for him. And I think he'll rather be happy that Gridgers has a penalty as well, because 8 seconds. But with that mistake, that gap might come back down. Meanwhile, the top 2 are now going to be on, and the final 2 laps are all to play for. These 2 have fought for all race long. These 2 have been fighting from the start of this race. Wherever we went, we saw these guys fighting. We saw these 2 fighting each other off. And what exactly will be happening now? Are we going to see Diggs make a move about right now? We're going to go on board with the Alpine driver to watch this one, and right now he's not close enough. He's just not close enough to make that move. And maybe now, both of them being on older hard tires, he's just losing out slightly against the Ferrari driver. Or is he though? Meanwhile, Pepper's going to be in a bit of a pressure, and he will be in a bit of a pressure. Spotting gets that move done from outside to the inside. Absolute brilliant move that was. He might not be getting that position, but he might eventually be getting that, place on track, and he did a brilliant move. I think that might have involved race, but well done to Pepper to allow them that space as well. And now it is all to be testing. Are we going to see an overtake that was being waiting from a long way back in this race, or are we going to see the defense that we've seen all this race so far from Rainbow to defend for himself, defend his position, to give us all the action we have been looking for? An overtake from one or the other driver, and over sake. And are we going to see Diggs make a move? Also, are we going to see Rainbow lose out? And as I said exactly, Diggs is now only gaining on Rainbow. A possible move would be coming up for the Alpine driver. Will he be able to make the move done though? Around the outside, he's going to be hanging in there. He's going to send it around the outside. Rainbow's going to stay around there. He'll go switch up to the inside line. It'll be through goes Rainbow. And he's just backed out a little, did Diggs. He went a little bit wide, and through went Rainbow. Absolutely exceptional stuff there. And Diggs goes a little bit wide again. He'll get the opportunity to the finish line, but he might have done the job here, did Rainbow. It was going to be pole for our championship, for our champion, three-time champion. But it is going to be race win for Rainbow as he wins the Australian Grand Prix and finishes up in P1. Diggs is going to be in P2. A lot of season remains, so anything can happen in these remaining races. It was going to be Spottings in the end who's going to finish P3 on track, but it's going to be Pepper who's going to get it in position. That podium is going to be P4 for Spottings, and Granger in a race of his own still gets a top 5 finish, so well done to the Red Bull driver. He does what he is on to do, and well done to him there, as we're now out on this one as Thorny gets P6 as well. But we've just made it to the end of the Grand Prix now, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you all watching really enjoyed all of this action that we watched here, and we had... And that was a brilliant race that just comes down to an end now. Exceptionally well fought between these drivers, between Rainbow and Diggs, but also not to forget the fight between Spottings and Pepper we had as well. Those guys fought a brilliant race as well. So that was all. And now we're watching these podium celebrations. Why not from Rainbow? They've won round 1. Remember, they won round 1 last season as well, so it's the consistency that they need, and I'm sure they'll be looking for that absolute consistency. And these are your race results, ladies and gentlemen. Rainbow wins with a brilliant start from P3 to take it P1. Diggs in P2 with the fastest lap going to them as well at the very end of the lap. End of the race in 19 points. 15 points for Peppers in P3. Spottings in P4 along with Critters completing out the top 5 with Thorny in P6, and then our next driver was down in P18. Did all he could, but couldn't do much in P18. Thor and Gomez retired out very early. So that's pretty much going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. It was myself, Zabi, bringing you up, guys, all the action out here from Brothers Lappage Season 4 Round 1 in Australia. We played it all. We saw great action. We saw good qualifying laps from these drivers. We saw brilliant racing action, and it was all that happened here tonight. So hope you all watching really enjoyed it. And once more, it was myself, Zabi, bringing you guys all the action. If you did like all of this, make sure to subscribe. If you haven't done already, click that bell icon for future streams. We're about to do one actually in half an hour and a half, or pretty much half an hour soon for another league. So make sure to tune in for that one as well. So this is pretty much going to be it, ladies and gentlemen, then. And from all of us here at Brothers Lappage and myself, Zabi, we're out.